Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Fatback 4 Daily. It is Saturday night. This is A Date with Destiny Part 4, a look back at Liverpool's season 2019-2020, which should be nearly finished, but it's not because of the coronavirus. We all know that now. This show is brought to you by Paddy Power, a bookies, a website and an app. If you gamble, please gamble responsibly and remember to do so with Paddy Power. Tonight we're going to look back at personally my favourite part of the season, the months of November and December. I've asked Keith and Chris to join me for this, and look, there's so many good games in here, lads. There's so many good games. Here we go. And here we go. I've said it's my favourite part of the season, November, and particularly December. Keith, we kick off the month of November, and it kicks off with one of the standout games of the season for anybody. I think literally anybody, and it's Aston on the 2nd of November. It's Aston Villa 1, Liverpool 2, and for anybody that can't remember this game, Liverpool are behind 1-0. They're 1-0 down with 85 minutes on the clock and turn it around in the next 7 to 8 minutes. Keith, a massive sway in the Premier League title race, I thought. A massive sway.
A lot thought, well, this is the first crack in Liverpool's challenge. And it didn't turn out to be. This was this an early kickoff?
No, this was a 3 p.m. kickoff, and
I think were City playing afterwards?
No, City were playing at the same time at home to Southampton, if I remember right. And I think on 85, I think City were 1-0 down.
Yeah,
and they literally
got ahead.
They just torn it around on about 85 minutes ago, 2-1 up. And at that stage, we're 1-0 down, and they're 2-1 up on 85 minutes.
That's right, yeah.
Because at that moment, they were going to be a point behind us going into the Anfield game. So we're all a bit on edge with that one.
Again, context, isn't it? You know, every game at the start of the season, you can look at the results in isolation, but the context around it, that would have put them right in their, I would have put us right in their sights for the game that was to come. But no, this was a great game, and it was one of them. We had a few flaws, but I just felt we were always going to do it. You know that way, like it was a game where we had a lot of the ball. We had, I'm looking at the stats on this. We 25 shots to Villa's 4. You know, it was a bit of a, and 20 of those were in the second half. Do you know what I mean? So it was a bit of a.
We had this is the start of all the VAR shenanigans as well, because we had Bobby's goal disallowed. Which when you saw
the infamous armpit.
That's when you saw the replay where the guy seemed to draw the line. You went, "Oh, he's on," and he redrew the line. Went, "No, he's off." You're like, really? This is the start of it. So, but it felt
an unusual one, all right.
The game in the end, once the game was over, it felt very Fergie United. That's what they used to do.
Exactly.
For years I used to sit there thinking they're finally going to drop points, and then it'd be right at the end. And it was an unlikely equaliser in the sense of who the scorer was, because he's not renowned Andy Robbo for his goals, and it was a great header.
It was a cracking header. A great ball by Sadio as well, wasn't it? It was a lovely delivery by Sadio, and he just gets on, the momentum brings him in, and it nearly carries him into the net with the ball. It was a great goal. But it was one of them, again, like I said, I always felt it was coming. I always felt it was... we'll see it in the next couple of matches as well. Certainly the Crystal Palace game that comes up as well. You know, we'd got into the mindset that going a goal down or conceding a late goal wasn't going to put us off our targets and our ambition for this season, you know, whereas in years gone by, a draw and some places might have been a bad result. Now, I'm not saying Villa or Crystal Palace would have been a good result, but the team seemed to go into the season with the no, a draw is no use, we have to get the win, and this game sort of epitomised that at the early stages.
You
I
know,
think you saw that with Klopp.
go on,
Sorry,
Chris.
go.
No, go on, Chris.
I think you saw that with Klopp's subs though, because Klopp's always quite reserved in his subs. He always has been. But I think last year must have been the time when he went, draws aren't going to do it. We saw last year we drew a handful of games and it wasn't enough. So I think I was just looking at the subs. You know, he takes Salah and Genie off on 65. It's very rare Klopp does a double sub. Especially takes all of these big boys off and goes, right, Divock and Chamberlain, go for it. You know, it's very that's definitely been a shift change in Klopp all season. That he's been a bit more ballsy with his subs when he's gone, the draw's not enough, we need to get the win. He very rarely now in the league settles for a draw. Europe and cup games, I think, is different. Yeah. But in the league, he definitely has gone with that mentality of draws are no good to me. Exactly. I've got to go for a win.
Touching on that then again, Chris, you know, we brought Naby Keita on then later on in the game, and I remember Keita had a very positive impact on this game when he came on as well.
This was the game. Good. Yeah, this was the game where we had Lallana as number 6, didn't we? Because we're all panicked. I think it's when we all had the debate: do you play Fabinho or not? Because I think wasn't he like 1 yellow away from a suspension?
Yeah, with the City game coming up.
With the City game, I think we're all worried about it going. Well, if we have no Fabinho, what are we going to do against City?
Yeah, like I want to ask you, right? Like talking about it refreshes memory. So I can tell you, I was at home watching this one, and first half was, you know, the whole Bobby incident is in the first half. They score a decent goal, in fairness to them.
Yeah, it's good.
And we're not kind of at the races first half, but I thought when it gets to half time, if we're 1-0 down and they've kind of ran out of steam a little bit, because they were chasing a lot of ball, in fairness. Even when it went 60, 70, even 80, I thought we're still going to... I didn't think we were going to win it. I thought we're not losing this. Chris, when it gets to 85 and it's 1-0, are you sitting there going, I'll just take the draw now and get out of here if we can? Because it is one of those games, and they don't come around too often where the top two are playing at the exact same time because of television and stuff like that. But it just fell that weekend. And even if you watch, you know, Match of the Day that night, from going back there, you can see from the City game when they get 2 and ahead, it's like, oh, we're winning and Liverpool are losing. You could sense it at the Etihad. But for us, did you think we could still go on and win it, or were you taking a draw? And how big a blow was it towards City when we're playing them literally, I think, two league games later?
Yeah, I think on 85, I'm like, look, just get something. We should. I was fuming because I think we should have had something at the game by now. We should have got at least a draw. So when he scored, I thought it was like 4 to go. I always thought Liverpool thought we always normally get one more big chance. So I was just hoping. I thought the big chance was I think Trent has a free kick, which if there's a heater, it's a really good save. And we do score from the corner. But I must admit, when Trent's shot saved, I thought that was, we're going to have to go with 2-point gap, and we're going to have to go for a win at Anfield. So when I saw the Manny goal, I was watching on a stream. I was in my in-laws watching on a stream, and I went berserk when he got the second. I
thought we were a bit further ahead than that. I thought if we'd have lost and City had a won, it would have been 3 points in it. Because I have it in my head that when we beat City, we go 9 points clear. Now maybe there's a game in between there where they drop more points. I'm not too sure, but I'll go and look at it. But for me, it's massive. Like, you can see the away end at the end of it, Keith. You can see the players, the fans, the management, everyone. It was, and it goes back to what you were saying. Draws weren't good enough. We had to just keep winning and winning and winning. If not to stay ahead, to break, whether it's Man City or anybody else that wants to come and try and have a challenge, to break their spirit and break it as early as we possibly can.
Yeah, and it was a big learning curve, steep one from the season before, where we knew draws were what killed us. You know, we lost one game the previous season and didn't win the league because we had too many draws. So we knew the damage that not pointless, but draws can have, the impact they can have. And we'd seen City had dropped a couple of points already at this stage, and where, they were under pressure and they were having to chase. So the importance of not dropping City points was absolutely huge, certainly at this stage, because it put us in the position, as you said, right, it's great to get the win on the board and all that and keep a run going, but the psychological damage we were doing to Man City as well, breaking their spirit, breaking their will from this early stage. And now it's only the start of November here at this point, and already they're clinging to us dropping a point somewhere to get them back into it. And we just were relentless at this stage.
Yeah, it was. It was. It was a serious case of, you know, just get the win. When Robertson scores on 87, I think it is, and then we get to 90 minutes, and I think there's 4 minutes injury time. There's a 7 minute gap there where I was genuinely sitting at home watching the telly, going, we're scoring here. I am with you though. When I think Trent hits that free kick. We score from the corner, but when Trent hits that free kick, I'm like, that's the one. Isn't that the one?
Yeah.
And then
it's a top save by Heaton, in fairness.
It is a top save, but the way we score, the ball in from Trent, Mane sticks his head in, and there's literally there's 6 studs stuck to the top of his head when he gets the header in. It goes across the goal, and I just couldn't believe Villa hadn't got a man on the post in the 94th minute. Just, you know, make sure you've covered every base. And I know a lot of teams go with one or sometimes no men on the post, but to have no one on the back post, I thought was a bit mad. But we get the 3 points. It's absolutely brilliant. Like, it's brilliant. Owl says, no reminder sent out, Gav. Didn't know you were on until I got an alert 10 minutes into the show. You should send out a tweet early to remind us. Avo, there was a tweet sent out at 8:30, my man, letting you know exactly what was going on. If you followed the LFC Day Trippers, it would have come up. But I will let you know in future. How does that sound? But we move on. It's a big win. City thinking like they're gaining points on us with this big game coming up in a couple of weeks. But we get the win. It's massive. We go into the Champions League game then against Genk at home. We win 2-1. We make it more of a struggle than we should, but we get the win. And you know what? I'm going to brush over it a little bit because it was a game we were expected to win, and we did do it. And there wasn't a hell of a lot that happened in the game. You know, we scored 2. You know, they got.
It was very professional at 2-1.
Yeah, very professional at 2-1.
We just did what
goal for the Ox as well.
Yeah, we did what we've started to get quite good at, is 2-1's enough. And it's kind of like, that's 2-1, right? Let's just get out of this. Let's get out of this game. We've got City at the weekend. And in fairness to Genk, I think they had 1/2 chance at 2-1. That was it.
Yeah,
you know. So I think we kind of won a game in second game. I mean, to be fair, we had Manny and Firmino on the bench. You know, so that's how much we thought of Genk, as in, like, you know, we had 2 of our big hitters sat on the bench. We didn't even start them.
Yeah, no, it was a very professional performance at 2-1. I have to be honest. The following game is Manchester City at home. Excuse me, and if the Villa game was, you know, big, this was huge, because we go into it, we're ahead of them, and people are thinking, everyone was going back key to. Do you remember City came last season and they changed their shape and they changed their system? And would they be happy to get out with a draw because they'll back themselves over the next 20 odd games or 25 games or whatever it is to outshoot Liverpool, outscore Liverpool points wise over that amount of games? You know, if they're 6 points behind or 3 or 4, whatever way it is. But
he picks a mad side, doesn't he, Guardiola?
He does. And I'll be honest with you, Keith. I went into it thinking, I did think that City would. I went with the view that City might go in and go, listen, we'll see how we get on. We won't go gung-ho. We don't want to be picked off. If we walk out of here with a draw, we'll be X amount of points behind, and we will be confident that we have to play them at the Etihad, and B, we can get on a roll like last season somewhere along the line, and we will reel them in, you know, that kind of way. But it let's be honest, Keith, it doesn't work for them. It doesn't work from the very beginning, and we've spoken about a couple of games with regards to VAR, but this one is where it absolutely and utterly explodes, because 6 minutes into the game, basically City start better than us. I'm being honest with you. City start better than us. Like, you're mentioning what a strange team it was. He picked Sterling, Aguero and Bernardo Silva up front. He goes with the Brian,
it was
Rodri,
Angelino, wasn't it?
Yes.
Left back.
Yeah.
It was the shout, and he was very good attacking, but he was leaving late.
Because the argument was there was no Mendy, and they said, Mendy can't play 2 games a week. But they played him.
Yeah, Mendy was in the stand.
But they played Mendy midweek against Atalanta or some big someone in the Champions League. It was his thump.
Shakhtar.
And you sort of got, so you sort of going, well, if you think Mendy's your best left back, then you rest him and you play Angelino and you start Mendy and that, or the other guy, the other 50 million.
They had Cancelo, Cancelo was on the bench, and he can play both sides as well.
Yeah,
the other back he can play.
And they played some he's crap. He's absolutely crap.
He was
Angelino.
actually decent enough going forward in that game. He was a
But the
bit of a
biggest-
threat, Angelino, but he was
but
dirt at the back.
the biggest concern for me was he played John Stones. And
Yeah.
although he puts
I love to see
Fernandinho, although he puts Fernandinho in with beside John Stones, he still has Angelino and John Stones in the back four, which for me he's
Yeah.
Claudio Bravo, of course, in goal. The
right.
midfield trio, Gundogan, Rodri, and De Bruyne. We will line up as we were expected to line up. It's the team anyone will pick: Henderson, Fabinho, Wijnaldum in midfield. But 6 minutes into the game, Chris, and they start off the better. They've better ball control. That they have more of it, and they are looking to probe. And my theory kind of went out the window fairly on, because I thought, no, I know what these are doing. These are going to try get one and then try pick us off if we have to go and chase a game. But 6 minutes in, Bernardo Silva breaks into the box. It hits his arm, shoots across the box. It hits Trent Alexander-Arnold on the arm. They claim a penalty. It's not given. Liverpool break, and 10 seconds later, Fabinho's on the edge of the box, Chris, and he smashes one into the corner to make it 1-0, and there's absolute uproar.
Oh, Martin Salah's gone berserk, and he said they've got to bring it back for a penalty. It was amazing how the rules were getting rewritten as we spoke, saying...
no one had a clue.
What was it? It was you can't include Bernardo Silva's handball. That doesn't count. So it's definitely a penalty. But it was but it's deflected, so you get away. You're giving benefit of the doubt. It's deflected. Look, it does hit his arm. Does he know anything about it? I don't think so. I don't think he makes himself big. But the other thing is
that. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
But the thing with City is, after we clear it, we run down the pitch. It comes to City, and I think it's Angelino or Walker. It's the weakest clearance I've seen.
It's Fernandinho, I think.
Yeah, it's also it's like a layup. It's like if Firmino had laid that back for Fabinho, you go, what a layup. It's all he has to do is put his foot through it and then kick off at the ref and give the ref a decision to make. But it's a powder puff clearance, and for first play to Fabinho, didn't know he had that in his locker, and it was a great finish.
But wasn't there controversy over this one where they were claiming that they weren't checking VAR. VAR was broken, and they weren't checking.
Someone
it,
said that at the time, that they couldn't. They pretended to check it and all this, but that was a load of shit. Like, obviously,
well, you see, the thing is, right. And when everything settled down, for argument's sake, right? If the referee gives a penalty against Trent Alexander-Arnold and it goes back and gets checked, he's turning it over. He's turning the decision because he's going, well, his handball has benefited them in an attacking sense. You can't do that, and that's what all happened when it settled down. But City then, their heads were gone, Keith. Their heads were gone, in my opinion, because 7 minutes later, Salah makes it 2-0. It started, I think, from a Trent ball, which is switched to Robertson
on his weak foot.
Yeah, he just motors. He just absolutely motors up the pitch, and he puts a brilliant ball in behind the defence. And in fairness,
McDermott versus Spurs.
Well, do you know?
Do
you know something? It's one of those where it's the only thing you can do with a Salah for me, because it's bouncing up so high that you have to take it like that early and get ahead on it. You can't chest it. It's up. It's at an awkward height. You can't let it run beyond you because it's going out if you don't. It's a brilliant finish from Salah, isn't it?
It's one of the best goals of the season for me.
Sorry, it was Gundogan that had the bad clearance. Thanks to Paddy for clearing that up. He's right. It was Gundogan. I had Fernandinho in my head, but it's a brilliant finish from Salah, isn't it?
It was one of my favourite goals. Like I said, the Terry Mack header against Spurs. I grew up sort of in a household that was made watch that, you know what I mean? That's Terry Mack's header. This was that all over. The move, the ball by Trent to Robbo was sensational. The ball by Robbo in was sensational. The header was sensational. Everything. It was just brilliant. And the timing of it and the context again at the game, Man City were 2-0 up. Their heads are absolutely cabbaged at this stage. They're still raring up over the penalty. That shouldn't even have been a penalty. And it was just the perfect start for us. And we needed it because this game pans out. It's an excellent game. Man City are very good in this game. Do you know what I mean? Like, we look at the score of this, City were playing great in this. We were great as well. We got into a position where we could let them play and let them have a bit of the ball, which sort of, when you look back at it, it can skew stats and things like that. Or they had more possession, did more. We were 3-0 up, you know what I mean? Like, so obviously we didn't have to be chasing anything. But City were really good in this. This wasn't like a weak City team. They were, well, we say it was a weak in the lineup, a bit of a mad lineup, but their performance on the day I thought was very good.
If you look back,
which made the win better.
If you look back, they have 55% of possession. They've 18 shots to wear 12. They've 3 on target. We have 5. In fairness, they've 13 corners to wear 4. They only fouled 5 times in the game. We fouled 10. They've 100 passes more than us. They've more pass success rate. But Chris, this is a case of Guardiola's worst nightmare coming true, because that's what he's worried about. Liverpool. The most he's worried about Liverpool is not when Liverpool come out and control you. The most he worries is when you go at Liverpool and Liverpool sit back and go, oh, listen, take an extra 10% of possession, take as many corners as you want, take it, don't foul us, don't just let us sit and wait. And that's his worst nightmare coming true, wasn't it?
Definitely is, yeah. I think I said on the reaction show after we'd beat them was it felt like in the first half an hour, especially, we sort of a bit of a rope-a-dope. It's almost like we'd learned to, which is something we probably got better at. We learned to play dead a little bit and go on then, take us on. I think because we have a Van Dijk, a Ferdinand, a Fabinho, we have that sort of solid core now with Henderson that we're now confident to go, and we've got Alisson in goal to go, all right, go on then, you break us down. Which, to be fair, 2 years ago, we'd never have done that. Because we were just a catastrophe at the back, So it's also a sign of us maturing and the better quality we have in the side, which does help.
It was a real ding-dong kind of battle then for me. Someone mentions that Angelino hits the post when we're 2-0 up. But it gets to half-time, and Klopp is delighted. He's 2-0 up. He's at Anfield. He's shooting into the KLOPP second half. Guardiola's not fucking happy. He's fuming. You can see he's fuming. The City players are looking around them going, this isn't right. They feel like it's an injustice. And that's the best way you can get City. If they feel like they're there's something's going against them, the head gasket goes a little bit. And we had them right where we wanted them. And we piled it on then, Keith. A brilliant header from Mane to make it 3-0 from a brilliant cross from Henderson, and that puts them to bed, doesn't it? Because it's 51 minutes.
It does.
I know there's 40 odd minutes left, but now it's a real case of we'll just sit here if you want, and we will just pick you off if we need to, because that's what Liverpool want to do to City, and that's what City don't want done to them against Liverpool.
Exactly, and you're right there. The head gaskets were going all over the place by City, and what the best thing to do with City is, I think you touched on there, he doesn't like when, you have to chase Liverpool or whatever. I think as well, when you make it emotional against Man City and they couldn't handle the emotion. Now, I know that's a real weird, soppy emotion, but it was like the Champions League game. Remember when Milner, they were 1-0 up against us at the Etihad, and they
have the goal disallowed, don't they?
The goal disallowed when it should have been allowed, and their heads were gone. Do you know what I mean? I think City walk a fine line when, if it gets too emotional for them, they can't deal with it. And this was it. You know what I mean? Wasn't this the game where Pep is doing the 2-2-2?
Yeah, well, that comes later in the game, because
later on
that comes later in the game when Sterling hits it off Alexander-Arnold's arm again. He's very close to him. It hits him. It's never a penalty. Never. And even if it's the other way around, it's not. He's too close to him. No. But then he's running. And you see, he's 3-1 down at that stage. I think Bernardo Silva scores on around 70, 75,
good
somewhere around that. Really good goal.
Yeah.
A really good finish at the near post. It's probably, again, the only place he could put it to get past Alisson, but it's a really good finish on the half-turn. But Pep knows in his heart of hearts that, all right, there's 15 minutes left, we're 2 down, we're not getting back into this. But do you know what? It smacked a bit of Mourinho for me, Chris, because Mourinho always would look for one little bit in the game where we go, oh, well, if that happened, maybe. And he doesn't really believe it, but he'll hang his hat on that. And that's where Guardiola went down. He went down that avenue that day, Chris, didn't he?
Ah, yeah.
He did, yeah. And then this is also the game where we brought Gomez on for the last couple of minutes just to shore it up. And doesn't Sterling square up, because Sterling tries to kick him.
Yep.
And then we all know what happens a few days later.
Yep.
This is when you knew this is when I knew we were getting at City. Is that it was usual lads wind their lads up like we all do. We all wind our City mates up. You all wind your United mates up. We all do it. And Sterling couldn't take it, and he went at Gomez. And it's funny because since then Gomez has gone back to normal form. Sterling's form's never recovered from this.
No, it hasn't. And you see, the thing is, that's been boiling in Sterling for 5 years. Genuinely, because if you watch Sterling play for Manchester City at Anfield in particular, right? He's been a bit better against us at the Etihad at times, but at Anfield he disappears. You know, you remember the time, I think it was John Flanagan milling into him. You know, was it John Flanagan? I think no, it might have been Trent.
Yeah,
it might have been Trent.
No, it was Flanagan.
It might have been Flanagan, and then I think Trent's done it to him, and he's cowered away from it. To be perfectly honest with you, I think the season before City come to Anfield and don't start him. After a run of games where he's played against our Anfield and just disappeared. Now, in this one, I think he's probably their best player. Genuinely.
Yeah.
But this is boiling up in Sterling for 5 years now, or 4 years or whatever it is since he left Liverpool, and it boils up, and he picks the most. I don't know, the most nothing incident. No, but the most nothing incident to boil over. Don't get me wrong. Listen, if Gomez came in and hit the ball, everything, and left a bit on him, if he jumped up and went mad, you go, right, fair enough. But this is nothing, you know. And he kind of, Gomez is kind of laughing off as if to say, this game's over. Look, I'm not getting into this. And Sterling has to have a go. And then Gomez just literally, I'd say if Gomez was allowed, he would have picked him up and threw him about 20 feet. And it was a sign of, Keith, he was a representation of everything about Man City that day, because he was reflecting Guardiola right there and then. Absolutely. 100%, wasn't he?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
It's also reflecting their fan base.
Yeah, look, it was just going. It was like...
It was falling apart.
How we speak about Villa, Keith, and that win, and we speak about the theories we had going into this game, and we've taken up loads of time with this game, but look, we are where we are. But how much, like, people say it's a big win. It wasn't only 3 points, wasn't it not? Because, Keith, they probably did come going. They're on a great run. They're winning every game bar one. But let's see how hard they are against us. Let's see how hard when it all comes on them. But when you see City, for me, were surprised by the emotion at Anfield that day, the fervour at Anfield, and then the players just absolutely being determined that they were going to do it. Keith, City must have walked out there going, no, these are going to take absolutely some beating regardless.
Yeah, I think they did, and I think you could tell by all the sound bites and all afterwards that they knew. Like, there was a lot of talk. Remember the season before, we were unbeaten, and then they beat us, and the talk was we took a 10-point lead. It was a 10-point lead over them, and then it turned out we didn't win and brought it back to 4, and they could have had a game in hand as well. So it was a deceptive lead, and they thought, oh no, we can catch these. We win this, we can catch these. And the fact that they couldn't, that really fucked them up, and I think that was it. They knew, you know, they knew, I think, from early on they had to get something out of us at Anfield, and then they beat us at the Etihad. That'd be their thinking. If we can beat them at the Etihad and take them at Anfield, then we've a good chance of having. The fact that they didn't, and they didn't get near us, in all honesty. I know Sterling should have got a penalty. Yeah, we could have done. Yeah, I think it probably did.
I think it does put us 9 clear, because, like, I just have 9 is in my head. Someone will come along with all the stats and tell me you were 9 ahead.
Yeah.
But it was a huge win, and it was a real case of we've played the best right now, and they haven't even been able to topple us. Who's next? You know, Avo says they were acting like spoiled kids, Guardiola and Sterling, and he found it hilarious. I did as well, but I found it funny. But at the same time, the mental side of it, you know, the psychological side of it, fascinating. As to, your players can lose the head on the pitch, but your manager should always be, you know, kind of hold himself a bit better than he did, and he was the trigger for the rest of them, and that's a worrying sign if you're chasing any team. And I'm sure Liverpool are looking at it going, listen, these are gone. These are genuinely on November the 10th. I'm looking at it going, these boys are gone. David Lennon asks, are you on the Fanta, Gav? No, I'm on my Waddy Lemon. I am tonight, so there you go. Porrick confirms, yes, it was. It did put us 9 points clear. We 2 games left in November. One was Palace away, and the VAR stuff follows around the ground, Chris, because if I remember rightly, James Tompkins scores a goal for Palace in this game. Am I right? Am I right in saying this?
Yeah,
And
right on half time as well. 45 minutes or something.
And Paul Mercer goes berserk saying, "Just give him the title. It's ridiculous."
Yes.
Yeah.
Which because apparently pushing someone over is all right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a. Now the only thing I would say is, I think it's either Lovren or Wijnaldum is going
It's
for this header.
Lovren.
Yeah.
Lovren on, and it's one of the IUs.
Wijnaldum gets a little flick on it, actually, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And
because
Lovren's behind him.
Lovren's never getting the header. I think that's the argument.
Yes.
Although he's pushed over, Lovren would never have got the header even if he wasn't pushed.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you push in front of the goal, you're gonna be lucky if you get away with it.
And my initial reaction to this goal was, like, when I see it go in, I'm like, well, 1 down. But then when you look back, I'm going, yeah, I know where the argument's coming from. But having said that, if Lovren isn't getting the ball, AU is most certainly not getting the ball. So what's he doing pushing Lovren? And that's what I couldn't get my head around. And I knew coming back, it's going to go Liverpool's way. But it's 0-0.
And with VAR enforced as well, you're not getting away with them. Even as you say, the argument was, but it wasn't. None of them were really in the line of the ball there and all that. But if things are getting pulled up, if 2 weeks before they're probably getting pulled up from an armpit offside, you know what I mean? There's no way you're getting away with them.
Exactly. But we knew from there on in that no matter what happened, no matter how right the decisions were, every little thing that was correctly pointed out and a goal not given or whatever it'll be in favour of Liverpool was going to be the rod that they were going to try hit us with from here to the end of the season. It was simple. It was very, very clear. Like Merson is telling them to give the title. Like Merson's a fucking idiot most of the time. So I wouldn't be paying him much heed. But this was the way it was going. This was the. I don't know. This is the way the story was going to be told. From a media point of view.
We did play very well first half. We were pretty average.
No, we weren't. And it goes into the second half, and Mane opens the scoring with it's a weak enough effort, and
both posts, isn't it?
It's off both posts, but this goalkeeper has been raved about, and I listened to previews from the likes of the Anfield Rap in the lead up to this. They were speaking to Crystal Palace fans, are saying what this goalkeeper, blah blah blah, and because last season didn't he have Speroni in goal against us?
Yeah,
at the home game,
and he made a mess of it. So the goalkeeper was a big thing, and they were saying, no, this guy's really good, and he's this and the other. And I thought, no, you should be saving that. But it goes in, Chris. It makes it 1-0, and I'm thinking we'll get out of jail a little bit here because we haven't really played that well in this game.
Yeah, no, I thought 1-0, that'll do me. And that also meant we didn't have to play Salah, because I think Salah was carrying an injury. So we had him on the bench. So you were kind of hoping, right, 1-0, we should just get it done now. And in fairness, we missed a couple of good chances to bury the game. I mean, that keeper, I think he does make a good save against Firmino. Then unfortunately, Zaha eventually scores. But again, he was very, very, very Zaha, very petulant, very arms in the air. You can't breathe at him or touch him. He thinks every touch him's a leg break. Takes his goal well, but he's a very frustrating player. I can see why a lot of top clubs haven't gone for him.
Do you know something? I think, just touching on Zaha for a minute, I think the reason top clubs haven't gone for him is they seen him go to Manchester United and it didn't work for him. Now, how well he was treated there, I'm not too sure. Did he not want to leave London and it didn't work out for him? I get that.
But wasn't he signed by Fergie and then Moyes came in?
It was something along them lines.
He was a kid that wasn't he? He was about 21.
Absolutely a kid. Yeah. But do you know something? I think his chances that he misses or his petulance I think it's more highlighted because literally when you go to watch Palace, you're going to watch Wilfried Zaha. Now, having said that, if he played for a bigger side, I think he'd get more chances. I think he'd improve as a player because I feel
he wouldn't be man-marked and targeted.
Yes, and I think he's going a bit stale at Palace for me. I think he needs a move, and maybe he wouldn't be targeted as much, and that'd lead him to be a bit more free with his football. I think he's a very good talent, but he does take his goal well. But Keith,
the other thing what's about him though? He said he wouldn't get targeted. If he played for Arsenal or Tottenham, and we were playing Tottenham, and Zaha was playing on the wing, if you were Klopp, you'd be saying to Robbo, first 10 minutes, rattle him, kick it, just take the foul, take a yellow, take a yellow. Why I said Because I guarantee you, rattle him twice, his head will go and he'll hit you, or he'll get.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be planning your whole thing around him. You know what I mean? You wouldn't be gearing your whole week around him.
But I think that also for big clubs, they also go. But in big games, in big pressure situations, you need a cool head.
He can be rattled there.
But I'd like to see him at a bigger club with a different mentality.
It might help. Tottenham might be a perfect route for it.
I think it would. I really do think it would.
He's the prime example, but isn't he, of without over dramatics here? You know what I mean? Being a modern day slave in football terms. Crystal Palace do not have to sell him now because they've too much money. They don't need cash. So anyone that's looking to buy him, they can hold out for ridiculous money, and that's what turns everyone off. 80, 90 million. You know what I mean? No one's going to pay that for Zaha, and they don't have to sell him. So he's stuck there.
That's what he's stupid and should have spoke to his agent to get himself a buyout clause.
Yeah.
Kevin Sullivan reckons, or says, he's one of the most foul players in the league at Palace. He reckons Leicester would be ideal for him. Brendan Rodgers would love him there. Avo says every goals get looked at, even non-subjective goals. If a player gets pushed, it'll get overruled. Of course, going back to the Lovren incident. Ant Dicko says, hi lads, way off subject I know, but one of my mum's friends works for the NHS, currently on a ventilator with the virus. Stay in if you can. Listen, if you're being told to I'm going to cut across this show for a minute, right? I'm going to wait in the football for 1 second, and I'm just going to say this, and then we leave it and we move on. I hope that Aunt Dicko's mother's friend recovers and is okay. And she works for the NHS, so listen, the job I don't envy the most in the world right now. If you're asked to stay in and you're asked to, carry on with social distance and stuff like that, do it. They're not saying it for the laugh, right? Do what you're being asked to do, and if you do that, we can walk through this in some sort of way. If you don't, they're going to lock your country down. They're going to close everything, and they're going to make you stay indoors, and then you'll see what it's like to be in isolation, and you won't like it. They're trying to do something where they can keep some sort of normality to this, but if you're responsible enough to be socially distant from people, all right, you mightn't see relations for a couple of weeks. That's the way it goes. I have a new baby. My mother and my wife's mother are like chomping at the bit to see this baby, but they understand we can't, and that's what you have to do. Do what you're being asked to do, or you will end up in lockdown, and it will not be nice. It will genuinely not be nice. But look, moving away from it, he scores. He does well. He scores, and he makes it 1-1. I think on around 81 minutes, if I remember rightly. I haven't got all the facts and figures in front of me. I'm doing it pure from memory. But a player at the time, Keith, that was getting a little bit of stick over the way he was playing, and a little bit of stick over, should be this, should be that, was Roberto Firmino. All right? And he pops up with the winner. And when I first seen it, I thought...
Poacher's goal.
No, I thought he's got lucky there. I think he's just taking a lash at that and being lucky. Then I thought, no, he's in the right position. But then I looked at it again, and Keith, he puts it in the corner. And there's no fluke about it. It's a brilliant finish, isn't it?
It was a great goal. He kept his cool. He kept, at that stage of the game, But I think it was symptomatic of the team at that stage. Hot on the heels of the Villa game, we lose a lead or whatever, and it's not going to impact us. We were in the zone at that stage. And in all fairness, it'll probably never be a stage we'll get to again. That way, like, this season was all geared for don't give up on anything, win every point, blah, blah, blah. And this was another one that, you can see the goal like that, similar to Leicester, really, wasn't it, at Anfield? Around the same time, they get a goal, and it's like, no, we keep going, and we get this, and it was just a perfect response to the Zaha goal, because Crystal Palace is always one of them stadiums, isn't it, where Selhurst Park, that you can play there, and the crowd can get up for it, and they can be raucous, and it can be a bit of a tough place to go. And if you can see an equaliser in 82, you expect them to maybe pick up on it and finish the stronger. But no, we wrestled it back off them pretty much straight away, which was the ideal way to quieten that, soften their cough a bit. So it was a great one, and again another key win. As Chris pointed out earlier, we run a little run of 2-1s, and this was another one.
Yeah, and it was another 3:00 kickoff, and I don't know whether City play after us or they must have played after us this weekend, but or they may have played at the same time. I can't remember. But again, they're looking and they're saying they haven't played well the first half by all accounts. They've got a goal. They've been pegged back, and a draw probably looks a fairly fair result. And then they've done that. And again, the mentality is draws are not good enough. We're not taking them. We're not settling for them. No fucking way. We're taking these points and we're out of here. And it was brilliant. The last game of the month, Chris, we go into is Napoli, and we all know the predicament the teams are in here. Win, and the last game of the Champions League is a dead rubber, if I remember right. And lose, and we're in all sorts of trouble. And a draw, and you're still going to Salzburg looking for probably a point. Yeah, you're looking for a draw to make it through. I think a draw that night puts us on 10, and we need a point at Salzburg to knock them out more or less. And we get the draw, but I felt it was a strange night at Anfield. I thought it was very. It was one of those games where, dare I say it, I think both sides kind of took the draw and went away, shook hands, and walked off. Would you be fair enough for that?
Yeah, I was at the game. It was quite subdued. I think the two things that killed the atmosphere a little bit was the seriousness of the Fabinho injury, because he just didn't move, and you all knew going, this ain't quite right. And literally, and look, I'll get pelters for this, but I remember their goal. It's a combination. I think Neil Axon rightly says it is. The guy thinks he's offside. He just levels it and hopes for the best. And actually, he's not. He is onside. But the two of our big players, Van Dijk and Alisson, when you watch the goal back, they're both crap for it. Van Dijk, he does get a knock, and he does get a knock. But I'm not being funny. It's a Champions League. Get your arse up and get your arse back. We've got other centre backs in our club that, if they'd have gone down there the way Van Dijk did, they would be getting called all sorts. The shithouse name, they're not up for it sort of confident. And to us, Alisson, for me, he was just coming back from his injury, but his footwork's all wrong. He's basically the shot he should save. So it was a bit of it. So it was a bit, all in all, a bit of an average first half. Second half, we were better. We got deserved the equaliser. Really good header by Lovren, but we just never quite had enough to win the game. It was a weird game. Look, give Ancelotti his credit. He'd set that team up perfectly to stifle Liverpool and stop Liverpool getting what they needed.
And that's the way you approached it, because we have 72% of possession. We have 15 shots to their 4. We have 5 on target to their 1, which is their goal. You know, we make 646 passes and they make 209. It's not like they've come and had a go off us. The goal sets it up lovely for them. You know, it does set up lovely, and I think,
and as Chris pointed out, the Fabinho injury, they took the wind out of sails.
It did a bit
of the crowd and that, you know what I mean. So they pounced on that. That's like lovely. Anything that could sort of get them in.
Plus, wasn't there a bit of a storm around them about a training camp?
Yes.
The players hate the owner. The manager hates the owner.
Yeah.
So there was also that element of, it was a bit of a perfect storm for them, because basically it created that sort of siege mentality of, we hate everybody, everybody hates us. So we're going to get a draw at this game.
Yeah.
And why the fans acting the bollocks around the city as well?
Yeah. So there was a little bit of the perfect storm, you know, which you do sometimes get.
Yeah. You just have to deal with it.
Just going back on Zaha, Avo says, I don't think he's got the big club mentality. He wouldn't wait for an England call-up and went to Nigeria or one of those other African countries.
Ivory Coast wasn't
Ivory Coast, so there you go. It's a fair point. It is a fair point, in fairness. When I said that was the last game of November, I was telling massive lies, simply because I wasn't reading the fucking thing properly. The last game in November is Liverpool 2, Brighton 1, and
Mad game.
Liverpool should be out of sight. They are 2-0 up, and then Alisson gets sent off. And Chris, you went.
I went.
You at this one, Wayne?
No, I wasn't at this game. I was on the post match, and one of the few times I went to town on Alisson, because it was the most dickheaded stupidness I've ever seen in my life. Look, you know, he shouldn't have been allowed to go clean through the keeper, but you're 2-0 up. Don't stick it. There's no need to stick your hand out. Nobody says a reaction. There was no need to do it either. He could easily have stayed there and stayed in his line, stayed in his area, and probably still would have had a chance to save it. Or do you know what? Jump, make yourself big. If he knocks it over your head and scores, it's 2-1. Crack on, you know.
It's all well and good saying it's a reaction, but the goalkeeper should know his position as well. So you can't react if you're outside the box. He just had a brain fart, didn't he?
He did. To be honest, since the Brighton game, Alisson's been back to his level. I would say that we expect. So maybe that gave him a little bit of the kick up the arse. But yeah, no, I think on the post match, I think I would town on him a little bit. I think Gav had to calm me down.
Yeah, you did. I did. Lewis Dunk scores from the resulting free kick, and there's a bit of controversy over that as well because
Atkinson in it.
It might be Atkinson, and
Atkinson.
He's looking to see, and then he just lets him take it. And for me, Adrian is too slow, but the referee is a bit of a spit snide on what he does there, you know. But look, that
Adrian took bleeding ages setting up his wall, didn't he?
Yeah, he took forever.
And he was taking the piss a bit.
Yeah, he was. And in fairness, he was taking the piss a bit. But the referee, he's asked, "Can we take it?" And he says, "Yeah." You know, and you should be waiting for the referee to tell you. But look, we get away with it. We get away with it. Now,
we did.
December, right? So there's about 14 games in December. Like, it was absolutely outrageous. So I will brush over a couple of these. But the first one in December is Wednesday, the 4th of December, and it's Liverpool 5, Everton 2.
I went to this one.
To me, it's Everton, so it's really good beating them. But Chris,
the fury over the starting lineup was hilarious. What? It was mad. He loves a mad lineup in a derby, doesn't he?
Yeah, like
whenever it's a derby, it's a mad lineup.
Yeah, but like if you look at the lineups for today, just to refresh people's memory, right? Adrian in goal, because obviously
no choice.
He's being sent off, right? Trent, Lovren, Van Dijk, Robertson, right?
Which was the back four.
Stage. He then goes Wijnaldum, Milner, Shaqiri, Lallana, Mane, Origi, and people's heads fell the fuck off, right? Everton went as strong as they could, in my opinion. Holgate, Keane, Mina, Digne, Sidibe, Davis, Sigurdsson, Richarlison, Iwobi, Calvert-Lewin. And people were like, what is he fucking playing at here? Now,
that game ruins Sidibe though, doesn't it?
It does, but he obviously looks at it and says, we're good enough to beat these. I need to give a rest here somewhere, because he's looking further into December, as we'll discuss in a few minutes. But then we just go, and without going into the game too deep, I'm going to just put this to you. Origi scores on 6, Shaqiri 17, Keane gets one back on 21, Mane scores on 31, he then scores on 45, Richarlison gets one back 3 minutes into injury time in the first half, and then we just play out the game like nothing matters, and Wijnaldum scores at the end. All right.
But I think Klopp gets in Evertonians' heads in terms of
that lineup gets in their heads more than us going out full strength.
I think it does, because they all go, "Oh, this is our best chance to beat them now," because they're playing, as they always say, they're average players. And then the thing of Origi is, you should just keep Origi just for the derby. He just loves it. He just loves the derby. He's just one of those players. I mean, the Shaqiri one came out of left field because we hadn't seen it.
Yeah,
we hadn't seen it since. I've seen him since though. He was literally turned up for one game, scores a good goal, played really well actually.
But he was excellent. He was brilliant.
He worked his bollocks off as well, which is, he's not renowned for that, but he did half work his bollocks off. Lallana had a really good game in centre mid, and it was a really comfortable win. I mean, I don't even think Firmino I can't remember if Firmino Salah came off the bench.
I'll tell you now.
Firmino came on for Divock.
Henderson come on. Didn't. Firmino come on. Gomez come on. And
so
left on the bench was Salah, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Keita.
Yeah.
But
it was. We just love ruining that Christmases, don't we?
It was like Kevin Sullivan says there. That lineup left Everton with no excuses, and that's exactly where it stood. And was it the game to rest? Maybe not, but he goes in with a Keith and he decides to go for it, and Everton crumble at Anfield. I'm not going to get in mad deep into it, but they crumble at Anfield yet again, and they're made a laughing stock of. Let's be honest about it.
Which does help us for later in the season.
Yeah, it does indeed. But when you say about resting them, it really wasn't the game to be resting them. We played Brighton at home the week before and went full strength. 5 days before went full strength. We had Bournemouth away after this. Yeah. And went fairly full strength. So it was like, what's going on? Now, I couldn't have gave a shite. I think just play whatever team now against Everton, and, I'll trust Klopp, because if he only did it at Old Trafford as well against United, start treating them with the disrespect they deserve. Not necessarily at the moment. United have sort of picked it up a bit, but earlier on in the season when we played them and we went in and gave them too much respect, he's starting to treat Everton with the disrespect they deserve. And I just thought the lineup was just mad. There was one of them games I actually was going over to the pub to watch it, and couldn't believe goals were rattling in left, right, and centre early on. I was like, "Oh, this is great." And then they were getting them back, and they kept getting them back, but not enough to get them back into it. It was just sort of that little bit out of reach for them. Yeah, it was great, lovely, great the way it felt.
Yeah, it was. It was, and you know what? Like, I look at it and I say to myself, "You're right what you're saying. We have Bournemouth a couple of days later, and then we've a break of 7 days to a league game. We've Salzburg in between, obviously, but Chris, I can't get over how mentally scared Everton are coming to Anfield. Like, they should have been looking at that lineup going, these are disrespecting us. No offense, like they're good players they're putting in, but Adam Lallana, Shaqiri, the kind of way, a midfield with a two-man, more or less two-man midfield with a 33-year-old Milner running around against their three. Chris, surely they should have come out all fire and brimstone and trying to play for that manager, but they didn't. It was mad.
They didn't know. I mean, there was a lot of hatred around because Silva was still manager, wasn't he? So I mean,
he was.
They all hated him. The thing with Everton at the moment seems to be like have that thing we were probably before Klopp came, which is like they hate the manager, they hate the players, and don't particularly like each other either at the moment. They're kind of in that vicious cycle of just nothing's good. Which we had it under Hodgson. We probably the last year under Rodgers was a bit like that. No one could be arsed. So, but yeah, I mean, I was at the game, so me and my brother for a second, we were just giggling because you got sort of going, it's madness. This side should be knowing. This game should be a lot closer than what it is.
Yeah,
and it was pretty straightforward.
We literally they're 4-2 down at half time, and you're thinking again they'll come out and they'll go for it, and they don't. Liverpool just play the game. Just play it, and then at the end, they just go, "Oh, well, I'll just lash one in here, make a 5, and we'll all go home." It was madness, absolute madness.
They had one big chance with is it Moise Keane?
Yeah,
where to be fair, he should score, but I think we should have scored to make it 5-2, and they ran down the other end to score.
Yeah, it was just an insane game. It was absolutely insane game. Avo says to watch Silva that day on the line looking clueless was hilarious. Kev O'Sullivan says you'd have to wonder what was showing up in the fitness tests, because if Everton won, that Klopp would have been slaughtered. He did. He put his neck out there for it. He did, and it came off. And again, I think it's more. I think he feels he can take that chance against Everton at Anfield because mentally they're completely shattered when it comes to playing us. Somebody's opening a can there, fair play. So a couple of games I want to just brush over a little bit, right? Because there's just so many of them in December. But we beat Bournemouth 3-0 away, standard, right? That's just the way it goes. We go to Salzburg and we secure that point we need by obviously winning the game, and it was a really good performance from us. I felt the first half was a great game, but the second half, Keita scores, Salah gets a brilliant goal where he's nearly on the end line with his right foot and puts it away and gets us through the group games. Liverpool,
it's underrated performance, that.
It is an underrated performance, especially from 45 onwards. I thought we were excellent.
Again, context was everything. They were the dark horses. Can they knock us out? Blah blah blah. We were.
Well, since they played us, they've been absolutely pillaged, haven't they? We took Minamino. Haaland's gone to Dortmund and can't stop scoring. The only thing the only surprise is it Wang?
Wang is still there.
He was still there. With Wolves, and then it never happened.
I know, because he seemed like perfect for Wolves. I mean, to be honest, he might go in the summer. I'll be amazed he's still there. I'll be amazed he's still there in the summer.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
And in fairness to them, we beat them, but I liked them. I liked them throughout the group stage, I have to say. We beat on the 17th of December. Sorry, no, the 17th of December is when we play. That's Villa in the League Cup. I'm not even going near that game. All right. The game before that, Saturday the 14th of December, is Watford at home. I think it's Nigel Pearson's first game in charge at Watford. Salah gets an early one and gets one late. In between that, Watford they're decent.
They're decent.
They are decent, but Liverpool more or less in control for the game, I thought, and that was fine.
Yeah.
We go away then, and we play Monterrey. We beat them, and we beat Flamengo and become World Club champions. And they weren't the best games, but we got the job done. And to add that to the European Super Cup was absolutely amazing. And I thought it was the perfect, Keith, I suppose, without going too far into the games, it was the perfect way. If you're going away to do something like that, go and win it, because you're going to come back, Keith, and you're going to be a little bit weary. There's no doubt about that. But win it, bring something back with you.
Exactly, and this was I said it before on the show. you go away to these World Club Cup things, and usually you get an easy game, and then the final is a tough game. We didn't get that this time. They were 2 tough games. Monterrey were they were a good team. They were very physical. They were leaving a lot on our players and all. Like, it was a tasty game.
Having Henson at centre back didn't help either, because that's not his position.
That's true. Yeah, we went in with a patched up squad. In fairness, but Van Dijk, what was he? Was ill or something? Was he?
He was ill. I think he was ill. Yeah, the best thing these 2 games did, I think this brought Joe Gomez out of his slump,
and it brought Bobby Firmino into a bit of form as well.
Yeah,
because I think with Joe Gomez, when he realised I'm the only fit centre back here, and I've got a centre mid next to me who's never played there before, he went up a level, and he went back to the Gomez he's been since, and the Gomez we all know he can be, which is dominant centre half who can play who's really good with the ball at his feet, and he took on the role of senior centre back, which I think is just what he was missing, which is why Lovren for 8 games was playing ahead of him, because he was a walking bag of nerves early in the season. But that's probably the best thing that came out of this, apart from winning it, was the likes of Gomez and, as Gav said, Firmino found some form. Yeah, it was probably what they needed.
Now, when the focus switches back to the league, all the media are saying, can they come back? They've 3 tough games. I think it was 3 games left in the year and in the month. If I look it up now, it is. It's 2 games left. We had Leicester away,
2 freaky games.
Leicester away, Wolves at home, right? And I was thinking 3 because I know Sheffield United was kind of thrown in with that as well. Yeah. But we Leicester away and Wolves at home, and people felt they'll come back. Leicester, of course, at the time were our nearest challengers, if I remember right. They were a point ahead of City at the time, and people were saying, well, Liverpool come back now, and if they get beaten by Leicester will close that gap, and City will pile in on top and stuff like that. Keith, it is the best performance of the season by a fucking mile, right? And it is one of the best
in years.
I think it is. Oh, fucker, I'm going to say it. I think it's probably the best footballing performance we've seen under Klopp since he's manager of the Liverpool Football Club.
Oh yeah, easily. I'm thinking it's up there with the Forest game in '88.
It was outrageous.
It was brilliant because, again, I keep saying this, but context is everything in this. You touched on it there, Gav. We'd gone to Qatar, and that was another stumbling block that everyone said, Liverpool haven't got the squad. Liverpool have to do this travelling. They've to come back. Who have they got in that first game? Oh, Leicester away. Mm-hmm. Brendan Rodgers, Foxes are on their tails. Yep. Gary Lineker and all were coming to get you, even though they hadn't gained any fucking ground on us. I think we'd missed 1 game.
But people were thinking, legs a bit jaded. Jamie Vardy's fucking lashing in bottles of Blue Wicked before he goes out for the game, and he's going to be on it, and he's a little fucking bit of port in a sock and stuff like that, whatever he's up to.
But as Keith said, context is everything. This is also the run which is pissed City fans off is Leicester's game before us was City, and Wolves before they played us was City.
Yeah. And so City obviously City lose to Wolves before Wolves come and play us. So while we're beating Leicester, they're losing to Wolves.
Yeah. I must admit, I always thought we were in the title race. I think you made a conversation about it, but I think I messaged you when City lost away at Wolves. I think I texted you and said I think it's done. That was in my head. Mentally, I went, it's done now.
Yeah. And
I felt the loss to Wolves that's a gap I can't see us throwing.
Keith, the game itself, we've said from the start of this, we're not going to go into tactical things on this show. No. We just want to chat about the games, how we felt and stuff like that. Yeah. But the one thing that stood out for me in the game was, the stuff coming in there. Like Avo says, don't forget, we're the team that crumbled in December, but not this year, no way. It was a joy to watch the Leicester game. Trent was absolutely amazing that night. And when you look at that game, we don't score till after half an hour, in a 4-0 win. And I think we get a penalty on Bobby's goal, 70-ish minutes. Trent finishes it off with about 10 minutes to go. But we don't score for half an hour, but we absolutely pen them in. And every second ball we're on it. Every time the ball goes out for a throw, we're running together. We never give them a second in that game from minute 1 to minute 90. And that was... The football is great, but the intensity we showed, as if it was literally 2 fingers to everyone going, we're back from Qatar, but this is what we're about. That was the biggest thing for me, Keith.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the first half in that game, they didn't have a shot.
Yeah.
We had even though we hadn't put the goals away. You could just tell from early on in that game, we were good. Do you know what I mean? And as it was going on, it was a sign that now, it's another hurdle that we're going to get over, and we're going to, in some ways, I like Brendan, and I think he gets a rough ride from certain, from the broader media when he was our manager, he got slaughtered, but from our own fans since he's left, he's got derided a bit. But I was delighted to see him getting put in his box, because after the home game, we spoke about it earlier in the previous shows, that he was talking a bit of bubble, saying, they were a better team, they were this, that, and the other, and they weren't. Do you know what I mean? And it was nice then that he just sort of got his comeuppance, and he was very gracious about Liverpool after this.
Schmeichel was the one that stood out. He was going on about the penalty decision, and if that hadn't happened, we were in the game. They were never in the game.
No, they were not. They were leading.
But the thing is, again, Klopp was balls. It wasn't his subs. Only at 1-0, he takes off Salah and Keita, throws a Milner and Origi. He goes, right, 1-0's not enough. Let's go for it. I mean, literally as soon as he brings Milner on, their guy handballs out. So Milner's first touch is just to chip it down the middle. It's great.
Yeah,
but it's a great penalty by Milner. All the goals in this were great goals.
The touch from Bobby for the third was sublime.
Outrageous.
He touched it and just passed it.
Trent is brilliant.
But Trent that night gets an assist for the first. He gets an assist. Doesn't he get an assist for Bobby's second? And he scores himself. He was outrageous, but. That again, we've spoken so many times on this podcast, both on this series of shows and throughout the season, ways of winning games. And this, Keith mentioned earlier, series of 2-1 wins and this, and we dogged it out here, and we worked hard there. This was a consummate performance where we went out and went, nothing is stopping us. That was a real stamp. And like Chris is saying to me there after Wolves beat City, we were saying, he felt it was done. A lot of people, I think, in football looked at that game against Leicester and thought, no, this is over. This is, any stumbling block we thought, i.e. going to Qatar and back and having to play 5 days later. Any stumbling block.
They were unbeaten at home, weren't they?
Yeah, they were flying. They were absolutely flying.
They were unbeaten, so it wasn't like, people can say, they're over-egging this a bit, it was Leicester, but it was Leicester at home, and they were second in the league, they were unbeaten at home. We were a lot of miles in our legs, and to do that, like I said, I think it's the best performance that I've seen in my sort of lifetime.
I still think it's a Nielsen City that beat them there, though.
Yeah.
Don't think they don't lose many at home.
No,
give Rodgers his due.
Beating them there.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Fair enough. I was going to say, give Rodgers his due. He normally always gets home form sorted. His weakness is always away from home.
You'll see his big weakness next season in Europe. You genuinely will. I think it's the thing that will hold him back from getting a top job.
He's been on trouble bump for a while.
The Leicester game was similar to the Anfield game, says Avo. We absolutely battered them, but this time we put our chances away. That's fair enough, because we do batter.
That's a good point.
In the home game, but then people are. It's literally like, do you know what it felt like? Remember last season when we were running towards the end of the season and we were like, could City lose at Burnley? Could they lose here? Could they lose there? People were like that with Liverpool now. And Wolves is the last game of the year, and we win at 1-0. And there's referees trying to blow for handballs before the ball is in the net and all sorts of stuff. Bobby Madley, was it?
No, Anthony Taylor.
Anthony Taylor.
Is Bobby Madley bald as well? I don't know. But
disgrace he was.
Yeah, Mane scores, and it's a good goal, and he blows a whistle for a free out, and then the VAR comes along, and
this one they wanted a handball on Van Dijk, didn't they? When he doesn't touch his hand.
No.
Not at the time. No, that was later on. Yeah.
What happens is the ball goes over the top. I might have been a Henderson ball. Mane takes it down and bashes it in the net. Right, that's fine.
Yeah.
1-0. But what happens is the referee has blown the whistle then for a free out. Connor Cody and the like are looking around going, he's blown for a free out, as if to say, we know it's not a goal because they've a free out. It wasn't like that at all. What happens is then, after the game, they start going on about a handball from Van Dijk, which wasn't there. To compound that, they may have seen a video at half time, but you see most of the reaction after the game, obviously, and post-match interviews. To compound that, Neto scores what looks a really good goal. He celebrates as if he's won. He was like your man.
He gives the big one to the main stand.
Gives the big one
funny.
like what's the fella that scored for Italy in the '82 World Cup?
Marco Tardelli.
Yeah, Tardelli. Yeah. He gives it the big one. It's ruled out for offside. Listen, it's there's nothing in it, but that's the rules we're at. I.e. going back to Firmino at Villa Park a couple of weeks previous, and the game kind of comes to and fro. But Liverpool end up winning it, and again the VAR stuff follows around, and again, Keith, people are looking, going, these just keep finding ways. And the only thing we're going to have to do now is build an agenda around why Liverpool's title is now tainted, because it starts from there.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it was one of them. Again, I keep saying about, you know, when we came back from Qatar, our two fixtures are Leicester and Wolves, and even the next one, Sheffield United. People were looking at that and saying, these are booby traps. These are going to, Liverpool cannot get through these games and win. Even though it was a home game against Wolves, it was still a tricky game. You know, it wasn't an easy game, and to get through it, the agendas were left, right and centre. And Wolves, look, I know they felt hard done by with Neto's goal, and it was hard done by.
Yeah,
but
it was.
Rules are rules, and we don't make the rules. You know what I mean? It's one of them things. You just have to.
His toe was
the beauty of Liverpool, the beauty of Liverpool is they don't seem to have let decisions affect them positively or negatively. Do you know what I mean? Like if we get a decision around, like the City one we spoke about, we went up and scored. Do you know what I mean? On the penalty, Dave Lane lost their heads. Liverpool have been good at just getting on with it and just doing the business. And again, in that game, we didn't let it get us down. Even was that right on half time? The Neto one was.
The Neto one was literally just on half time. Yeah,
or something,
it was just on half time. Yeah.
Yeah. It was actually. I'm looking at the 45 plus 4, so it was like the 4th minute of injury time.
It was the last
so
kick of the half, really.
Yeah, it was. It was a tough one, all right, but
I still think it's been our toughest home game, that, I think. Yeah,
it was. And they played very well, and like that, again, an unorthodox team, Wolves, you know, they play with Conor Cody's a centre-back for them. He was a midfielder. They play with, I know they did a bit of a makeshift one here. Max Kilman and Ryan Bennett were back there. Sometimes they'll play with the Dendoncker or with Roman Sois, and they're midfielders as well that convert. They rely on their wing backs, Vinagre and Castro, Johnny, in this game, because they played City, hadn't they, when we played Leicester? So they rested him and his Traore and Matt Doherty for this game, the 3 best players. Do you know what I mean? And people are like, this is a load of bollocks. This is a fix, you know, like as if Liverpool had some influence on that, you know. So it was a tough game, and to come through it anyway, 1-0, lovely. I love the Scuttery ones when we're on the right side of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So do I. I love them. Kev O'Sullivan says you have to remember Leicester at the time were in the best form they've ever been in, including their title-winning side. And he also says he really enjoys watching Wolves play. He loves their system. They're a breath of fresh air. Let's be honest about it. They play the game the right way. They try attack. They very rarely, like when they get it, they try attack. It's very rare you see Wolves 100%. Come in and
very,
back to the wall.
Very weird fans though. I was at the ground with it. They're very bitter set of crowd. Very bitter, weird crowd.
Yeah.
I don't quite get it. It's kind of, they kind of still have that low. When a lower league side comes to Anfield, they think they got to sing all the song, all the hits.
Yeah, feed the Scousers and all that.
Yeah.
They spent last year's Anfield, they spent the whole game singing about us. And you're going, I'm looking at their players going, there's plenty to sing around there.
Enjoy that time, boys. Forget about us.
I know. It's funny.
Owen Book says Vinagre is a proper player. Get Michael Edwards on him straight away. I could not endorse that opinion more.
Big fan of his, Gav.
I'm a massive fan of him because when I watch him play, he looks like Andy Robertson Mark II for me.
Yeah.
That you could absolutely clone Andy Robertson off him, or clone him off Andy Robertson, or whatever way it works.
And not only that, he's 100% a wing back. So people say he's more good attacking than he is defending.
No,
Liverpool will not be looking for orthodox left backs. They're looking. Klopp loves converting a winger into a full back. That would be right up his street.
I think he's just perfect that you could say to them, you could say to Andy Robertson, you're going to play 70% and he's going to play 30%, and we see how we get on, and it would make very little difference the way we play, in my opinion. Just the way he's so direct, good on the ball. He's a good delivery. Vinagre is definitely one to watch out for. And if anyone out there is looking for a left back and would like to go to get him off Wolves, I think he'd be a brilliant signing. Lads, we have to finish up. That's the end of the year 2019. Before we make our way in and start with Sheffield United in the year 2020, which we will do at some stage next week, i.e. Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday of next week.
Yeah.
It's been brilliant again, but. Lads, we're looking forward at this stage into New Year's Eve. 2020 is coming. Just shortly from both of you, Chris, I'll come to you first. What way are you feeling? Are you still in that boat that this is done? It's just a case of when, and not if.
Yeah, I was on a case of I still have the dream of league done. We can retain the European Cup. They were the only two things I had in my head at the time. I was trying to. I can't put it. With my mates, we were talking about it, but obviously to people who weren't Liverpool fans, trying to hide the giddiness of going, because you don't want to do that Liverpool joke of this is our year. But it's first time in a long time going. This is the first time in a long time. We can't mess this up. This is done. This is brilliant, and I can't believe it's actually been the most straightforward.
Yeah. So Chris is definitely sitting there looking forward to 2020 and thinking this is done, this is over. He's literally focusing a bit more on the Champions League probably. But Keith, are you like me? Because anyone watching this show that watches a regular and has watched it since we started last July will tell you that I believe fully that Liverpool will win the title. I put a points total on it. I put an amount of wins on it. I haven't wavered from that. I have taken note of Man City. I have taken note of Leicester at times. But I'm sitting there and I'm a bit like Chris. I am thinking, no, we're just too good for this league. But is there a little bit of you? And there was a little bit of it in me going, just keep winning. Just keep the throttle down, because you don't want to let up, because there'll be a crescendo of everything on top of you. Any little slip. I was fully confident, but I wanted it to continue the way it was continuing. I didn't want to any slump. I wanted to see a slump when we were more or less done and dusted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hindsight's a wonderful thing with this, and it's all well and good me saying I was never concerned, but genuinely I was very early in the season when Man City were dropping points and we were picking up points from perilous position, let's say Leicester at home and the likes. I just felt that we had done to Man City what hadn't happened to them in a while, and their reactions
weren't good.
Were screaming to me that we would have to have a cataclysmic tail off not to win the league, even at this stage. And I joked about it on some early pods I was on, saying done by Valentine's Day. That was when I thought we'd have had the league won. I genuinely was confident that we would have won this league quite easy, because based on not that we were at this point in the season, we were amazing. We dropped points at United, and it was a sickener, because it was a game that I felt if I had gone on 5 minutes longer, we would have won. And it was a stupid game to drop points in,
because we approached it all wrong.
Because we approached the start of the game wrong, and the second half we sort of got into it, and we were the better team at the end of the game. But at this stage in the season, we were amazing, because every hurdle we come over, the World Club Cup, the small squad, the injuries will kill us. We'd lost Alisson, we'd lost Fabinho at this stage, who at the time was looking like the best holding midfielder in the world. We'd lost, other players at periods around this time, but it didn't affect us. So I genuinely thought, no, it's not a matter of if now, it's when. Even at that point, again, you can look at games and say, as I said there, Leicester and Wolves, tricky ones, but the way we were playing, I wasn't overly concerned about them. And I just felt that psychologically we had got in over Man City this season, and was confident we'd have won it from early on.
Yeah, I think you're spot on what you say there. Psychologically, we had just a hold over everyone, and we could, I suppose, direct opposition we had psychologically over is what I mean by that is the team we were playing this Saturday, because they looked and went, they can play bad and still win. And they can blow us away, or they can absolutely go to war with us, and they'll still come out the other side of it. And I think that's the massive thing psychologically. I genuinely think we've broken Man City psychologically over the last 18 months. And people will point and go, well, they won 3 cups and they won the league. Yeah, they did. But part of us absolutely running them to the finishing post last season got at them. It was eating at them, and it rolled
People
on.
laughed and joked.
No,
People laughed about it. Getting 97 points and not winning it. Well, the impact that had on them was fucking huge.
They knew they weren't having it all their own way. But look, that's the end of 2019. Next week we will be going forward into January. Of course, the season at the moment is on hold. We're at March the 22nd or 1st now at this stage, and you're probably not going to see football till probably, well, I don't know, take your guess. So, June. It could be June, yeah. But we'll continue on. Next week we will do January, then we will do February, then obviously we'll have to stop and wait until the season progresses and see where we get on. But it might bring us up to speed, and we can probably do at the end of every month, review the month just gone. So it might work out pretty well for us. Keith, it's been a pleasure as always. Thanks a million for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Gav.
No problem at all. And Chris, it's been a pleasure as always.
Thank you very much, Gav. Love you all as always.
No problem at all. He's even saying this week he loves us. We are
There you
flying.
go.
That's what isolation
Love
does
you
to you.
too, Chris. Love you, Gav.
That's what isolation does to you. Right.
I know.
That's it. That's the Fatback 4 Daily. That's your November and your December covered. With regards to the podcast this week, I'm going to try to get hold of Grizz tomorrow night, and we'll sit down and have a chat about what I don't know. The club will be back with you on Monday. And on Tuesday night, we are going to have the Premier League's one season Wonder 11. So on that will be Keith, it will be Karl Kopak, and I'm hoping to get Grizz as well. I've given them homework to do. I've given them two and a half days notice. So it's the Premier League 11, but a one season Wonder 11. So that should be interesting. Have a good evening. But there's nothing left of it, but enjoy the rest for anyway. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's been a pleasure. Over and out.
Take care.